Speaker Wampat and the Department of Education met today to discuss DOE's financial emergency. Yesterday, DOE Superintendent Dr. Narissa Underwood declared a state of emergency for Guam's public schools. Underwood says unless DOE received a minimum of $5 million by Saturday, all public schools could shut down as soon as Monday. According to Underwood, the $5 million would carry the agency to the end of this current fiscal year, which is September 30th. According to DOE Deputy of Finance Tallene Taitano, today's meeting with Speaker Wampat contradicted issues that were discussed during last week's roundtable discussion. Taitano says last week Wampat told DOE to be careful about certifying funds that were beyond DOE's allotment, but today's meeting focused on the public law that prohibits the governor from withholding allotments to DOE that would prevent the department from providing an adequate education for the children.
Since this weekend, been asking our legal counsel to take a look at what's appropriate. Do we certify based on the allotment, the appropriation passed by the legislature, the budget law, or do we certify based on the allotment, which is the appropriation less the reserve placed by BBMR? And that's really what our dilemma is.
Taitano says DOE is seeking guidance from legal counsel on what action they should take. According to attorney Frank Gumatautau, the legal counsel for the school board, there are two parts to this analysis, the accounting side and the legal side. Gumatautau says whether or not DOE is allowed to certify funds isn't the issue. They are allowed to certify based on the appropriations.
The real problem here is, where's the money? There's no money. Unless somebody's hiding something, there's no money. And it doesn't matter who you want to point fingers at, there's no money. The government is broke. Okay, and the money we've got, we've tried to use, every agency has tried to use it as diligently as possible. We're at the end of the fiscal year, and they're coming up broke. There's no cash. And they might be able to find a little bit here or there, but I don't think they're going to be able to come up with enough to cover this shortfall.
And what about DOE getting back the 3% that was taken away from them by BBMR?
It's an illusion because the money's not there. That was a way, I believe, that the leadership we have on the island had to basically cut across board. And they're not supposed to do that to DOE. It's under the law. They can't do it to DOE. But does it matter? Because in the end, there's no cash anyway. I think that's a paper transaction, that there's no money behind the 3%.
And what about the notion to tap into next year's money? According to Gumatautau, that's really an accounting trick.
When you think about it, because next year's funds really aren't next year. It's going to start in a couple of weeks, okay? But in the end of next year, you're going to have that problem. All you're doing is delaying the problem. It's going to be inevitable. That's why you have to find a way to shrink it.
Gumatautau feels that we will get to the end of this school crisis, but the end is not in sight. He says we have to learn to do more with less at DOE and other GovGuam agencies. David Macaluso, PNC News.